Oh, I can't believe how big of a kick I got out of that. For anyone who's unaware, that is a perspective from the Greg hole. I have found myself many times stuck down there, begging for my dog Parker to come get me out. Welcome, everybody. This is Fat Jack's Comic Grip, sometimes known as the Latchkey Manifesto. That's Tango. I'm Cash. And we are here to sell comic books, talk about comic books, pretty much try to avoid oblivion tearing us down and pulling us into that deep, dark underworld that is where most of us live. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It is an absolute pleasure. Yeah, Cash and Tango. Yeah. Yeah, I'm Kurt Russell. I'm Sylvester Stallone over here. When was the last time you saw that movie?
I tried watching it a couple years ago.
Just couldn't get through it again?
I fell asleep on it. I've seen it more than a few times.
Nice. Anyway, we are here on The Experience. Thank you for joining us. Anyone who is following us over from our local show, thank you for following us over. It is an absolute pleasure to hang out with everybody as usual. We'll be here pretty much for the next 2 hours until almost 8 o'clock before our heart out when Kyle inevitably kicks us out the door, whether we want to go or not. We are pretty much right now in terms of what we have for tonight. I'll get into the business in a second. We got a bunch of Avengers stuff we're going to talk about. We got a little miscellaneous things here and there, some weird stuff. Again, this was a big Greg hole week. I spent a lot of time digging through I got real dusty, really moist, a lot of grease. I don't know, some weird new infestation of bugs I've never heard of before. But either way, I go down to those dark depths of the subconscious for you people. For you. I think I do this because I enjoy it.
For Zainin?
Definitely for Zainin.
Zanin's in the chat.
Zanin's in the chat. Hello, Zainin. How you doing, buddy? It's always a pleasure to see you.
Marshall's in the chat, too.
Marshall.
Am I Turner or is he Hooch? Who's Turner? Who's Hooch?
I'm pretty sure I'm Hooch.
I don't know who's who in that. I forget.
I'm pretty sure Hooch is the dog.
Who's the dog?
Yeah.
Who's the guy? Jim Belushi?
No, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. What am I thinking?
You're
K9.
K9. There you go.
I'll be Jim Belushi and
K9. Well, hey, man, Jim Belushi's living like the best life. He just like hangs out in Hawaii, grows his own marijuana, hangs out with his daughters. Just what's life?
Jason, if you want to like and subscribe, please do. Everybody else, like and subscribe. Ring the bell, subscribe.
Oh yeah, please.
Notifications, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Follow.
Validate our existence,
FJ,
please.
The FJ Paradox.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, everybody who's been supporting the Instagram page. It is at the FJC Paradox. It's been a pleasure doing that with you guys.
I will put it in the chat, but I am blocked.
Yeah, he's not allowed to write, so he has to talk.
I'm not allowed.
And then we just talk over each other.
And to Mr. Bishop in the chat, if you could email fjccshow@gmail.com for those books you claimed a couple weeks ago. I realized too late that I don't have your email.
Okay. All right.
So away we go.
For anyone who doesn't know how this works, claim books in the chat. Obviously, first come, first serve. There's timestamps. Kyle, if there's any discrepancy, Kyle will let us know who got first. What you probably see down there on the screen there. If you are not in the Philadelphia area where our Center City shop is, where we are right now in Philadelphia, and you're not in the New Jersey area near our Oakland shop, we're going to probably have to ship books to you. And to do that, we're going to need contact information, shipping information, all that kind of stuff. So we would need you to please email us there at fjccshow@gmail.com. We're going to need to get all your shipping information. Al's handling that quite well. So you're in good hands.
Don't tell that to the guy that emailed me this morning.
I don't even know why that's funny, but it probably is.
Yeah, it's gonna be troublesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it a problem?
I was asking where his order is, and I don't know what he's talking about. So I gotta.
Did you ship something?
Well, he's bought from us multiple times, so it's like I'm not sure exactly what he was looking for, so I got to go through and check tracking numbers.
Oh, that sucks.
Make sure that and I didn't see it sitting back there, but we'll work it out.
All right. Okay.
He's a good dude.
We try to do our best. Unlike the guy who wrote us back in like 2020 or so, where we shipped some books and somebody in the post office stole them all, and then the guy wrote us. Oh yeah, thank you very much. And the guy, what do you call scumbags?
He called us scum. Yeah. And his friend jumped on the Facebook there. Guy called up here yelling. He got real belligerent.
Thanks for giving us the benefit of the doubt. just jumping to the no. My favorite is that we packed the books up, then ripped them open to take the books out. Then we shipped an empty box. And then we turned around and sold the books for triple and laughed at him the whole time.
Yeah, he had a friend call too. Friend called to give me shit. Yeah.
I'm just saying, people, when it comes to reviews online, allow a business or an individual to at least give them a benefit of the doubt.
Please. Nobody's looking at we're not trying to steal your money. The business has been here for 40 years. We're trying to keep it here.
Yeah. It's called maintaining some trust in the brand that is Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. We're not looking to screw anybody over. All right. I'm sorry. It just now that I'm on this social media thing, this crap keeps coming up.
Who do you want to be?
Who do I want to be?
Dredd or Pliskin?
That's a really good question. I'm going Snake just because I'm still Kurt Russell.
That's fair. I'll be Dredd, and then I'm still Stallone.
You are. You do have the opportunity to take the better Dredd and go Carl Urban.
Nah, I'll do Stallone.
Okay, all right.
Because I get to hang out with Rob Schneider. It's a whole thing.
Okay, real quick about Judge Dredd, this Sylvester Stallone movie. Do you just think that Sylvester Stallone obviously admitted that he never read a Judge Dredd comic in his life, and so he thought he was making Demolition Man 2, but they now have this new name for the police?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here before we sell any books. And the last time I did this was about Ghostbusters, and I got very yelled at. Anyway, I didn't dislike the Judge Dredd Stallone movie. I don't say it's better than the new one. By far, that's not the case. But it's still watchable to me. I enjoy it.
All right, if you can only have one movie the rest of your life.
Okay.
Is it Demolition Man or the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd?
I gotta pick one of those.
Yes.
I don't want either one. I'll read a book.
No. You're not allowed to have a book. You're not allowed to have anything except these two movies.
I'll probably go Dredd because isn't Diane Lane in that?
She is. That is true.
So I'm sorry to Sandra Bullock, but I'm gonna go Diane Lane.
But you don't want fun Wesley Snipes?
No,
and you get a better Rob Schneider.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and you get Dennis Leary.
Exactly. I'm telling you, Sylvester Stallone thought. Yes, I know. It's like Judgment Night all over again.
Everybody's saying Demolition Man.
Okay. All right.
So then I'm saying Judge Dredd, just to be
And
consistent.
in fact, I'm convinced when in Demolition Man they talk about the fast food wars and Taco Bell one, that was a concept that already existed in Judge Dredd comic books. I'm convinced the person who wrote or was making Demolition Man was trying to make a Judge Dredd movie, which is why Stallone got confused and thought Judge Dredd was a Demolition Man sequel.
What do you mean?
If anything else, go back and watch those two movies back to back. And
it's a good Saturday afternoon double feature.
Definitely. Get a little, and have a good time.
Get a little day drunk going.
Yeah. Okay, with all of that said, I think we've done most of our preamble. We've done business.
Any questions, please hit us up in the
chat.
That's it.
Okay, cool. So we're going to go forward with what we have here right now, which is primarily Avengers books and a little secret up here on the top shelf, which was just Mike made a very unique discovery in his version of the Greg Hole and his side of the of that cavern.
His Evan. The other end of Narnia.
Yes. Like when you saw the opening of this episode, that's our side of it. That's where we climb in. So I don't know what Mike's looks like. Maybe one day we'll get an image from it. So anyway, so we're going to move forward, and we are going to talk about some Avengers books. Obviously, for anyone who's watched the show weekly, we've definitely done Avengers, I think, last week or the week before. These are different because these are mostly, except for, I think, 2 exceptions, I'm pretty sure we haven't had any of these in a while or never before. Okay, so with that said, the first thing I'm going to point out real quick, I apologize for anyone who's already watched the local show, but I just want to give everyone this chance at this. This is the Avengers Annual from 1977. This is annual number 7. It's the death of Warlock, Gamora, Pip the Troll. It's the first appearance of the Infinity Gems, Infinity Stones that they were called at the time. This is the culmination of one of Jim Starlin's first big Thanos arcs. This is a very fine copy at $40.
And Starlin does all the art in that.
Yes, yep. Written and illustrated by Starlin. All right, and now we have our first Avengers book. This is issue number 21. It is the first appearance of Power Man, who also becomes the third Goliath. So if you don't know, first Goliath is Hank Pym. The second Goliath is Clint Barton, Hawkeye. And the third Goliath is this guy. Now, chat, let me know. Is this guy the same Goliath who becomes the villain in the 80s and 90s? And then in Thunderbolts, he becomes Atlas. Is that the same guy? Is this his first appearance, or is that the fourth Goliath? Anyway, this is a very good plus copy at $25.
When he says chat, Zanin, that's you.
Yeah.
Zanin, there's an Avengers question. Get to work.
Okay, next up, this is Avengers issue number 26. It's a very good copy at $18, and I have no clue what happens in this issue. Your eyes do not deceive you. The Wonderful Wasp, something's happening. All right, next up is This Power Unleashed. This is Avengers issue number 29 from 1966. This is a fine copy at $30. All right. Let's get that glare. There we go. All right.
Black Goliath. You forgot Black Goliath.
I did, but is he? Okay. Now, this might be racist, but in like a Marvel encyclopedia or anything like that, is Black Goliath considered one of the Goliaths? In my mind, he is, but there are times, I definitely in the 80s, if you go back and look at those handbooks, he's not part of it. Yeah, because they add black in the beginning of the name, that somehow makes him a different character. It's ridiculous because obviously anyone who knows who Black Goliath is knows that they have connections to the Hank Pym stuff and everything. Anyway, moving forward. Here we have Avengers number 37, To Conquer Colossus. Just so we're clear, this is not Piotr Rasputin. This is not the X-Men Colossus. It's this guy who I guess he ties people up with green yarn, and then he does something. I'm not really sure. He looks like he needs to lose a little bit of weight. He looks like he's wearing a jumpsuit, but it's armor. He's not the Destroyer. Anyway, this is a very fine copy at $50. Anyone looking to fill some Avengers holes? There you go.
Zanin says yes, despite his ethnic background. So he is a Goliath.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Zanin.
So, I take Zanin's word on Avengers.
Oh, I definitely take Zanin's word.
For sure.
When it comes to the Avengers, no, when it comes to anything, if Zanin speaks with authority, believe him. He is not quick to put on airs, that's for sure.
It's gospel.
Yes, that is for sure. Again, Zanin, spirit animal of the show, buddy. You know. Is animal offensive? Is that an offensive thing? Because whenever I say animal, I'm talking about the Muppet. You know, you're the drummer of this band. You keep our rhythm. You keep the beat going. You make sure that we stay on stay in harmony or whatever. Next up is Avengers from 1967. This is issue number 39. The Mad Thinkers Triumvirate of Terror. This is a very fine copy at $35. All right, there we go. And then we have issue number 40, where the Submariner, Namor himself, shows up doing stuff. This is a fine plus copy of Avengers number 40. This is a $30 book.
Zayden said he is offended and he will not be in the chat anymore.
Aww.
He ruined it. And he's never going to shop here again. He said all that in the chat.
Zayden, come back to us.
He's not. He's gone.
No, he's gone already.
He's gone.
Oh, man, I can't believe we lost Zayden.
Good riddance. I thought he'd never leave.
Sorry, people. This is all an illusion. The moment Zayden wakes up, the dream is over, and this is done.
He's the kid from St. Elsewhere.
He is yes. Zayden is our kid from St. Elsewhere. All right, next up is Avengers number 41, featuring Diablo and the Delightful Dragon Man. Delightful?
Delightful Dragon Man.
Oh, boy. Very good plus copy at $17. All right. And then we have here, in this corner is Hercules versus the Deadly Dynamic Dragon Man.
It's delightful anymore.
He's not delightful. I guess he's deadly and dynamic. All right, so this is Avengers issue number 42, The Plan and the Power. The Plan and the Power? It doesn't even make sense. This is a very good plus copy at $17.
Tommy Westfall. That's the kid from St. Elsewhere. Thank you, Zayden.
Tommy, it's getting real meta around here.
Circle, if ever there was one.
Hey, maybe all of you are stuck in the Greg hole with us. Maybe that's what happened.
We're all in Narnia.
Yeah, because again, if you want to talk about film theory, the one thing you always have to recognize when you're judging a film is which character is the perspective of the film being told from. That informs a lot. Do you know that in 12 Monkeys, in the future, when everyone goes, Terry Gilliam made this super weird movie, weird for weird's sake, okay? And they didn't understand why in the future everything was so strange and weird and all the characters are all messed up and this and that. Only 1% of the entire human population lived, correct?
Yes.
And in the film, it was only 1%. Do you know that 1% of the human population is schizophrenic? And do you know 12 Monkeys is told through the perspective of schizophrenics? That's why the movie is the way it is. And it is not just Terry Gilliam just being weird for weird's sake. Go back and watch 12 Monkeys and watch it through the lens that the whole entire story is told through schizophrenics.
That's interesting. You know what? I haven't seen that since VHS days.
Yes.
Honestly, that's a great movie, and
it's one of the honestly, it doesn't get enough credit for what it does because I don't think that they explain the schizophrenic aspect well enough. So some people just dismiss the movie as Gilliam just being weird.
They're like, oh, he just travels in time.
Yeah. But you go back, look at the future, and imagine all of those people, all the people who are talking to the Bruce. In fact, Bruce Willis is the least schizophrenic, which is why he's chosen to go back in time. Anyway, I don't know why that's been irking me lately. That people. Anyway, so it's all told through POV, and so the POV of this entire show from this point on is told through someone who is stuck and lost in the Greg hole.
We all crawled in on November the 5th and haven't come out yet.
And you haven't come out since. Anyway, Avengers issue number 45. The Super Adaptoid shows up. It's a blitzkrieg in Central Park, people. This is a fine minus copy at $18. Next up, we have... Oh, this is fun. This is kind of key. If you like weird, obscure supervillains, this is Avengers issue number 46. This is a fine plus copy at $30. This is the first appearance of Whirlwind, who is a big Avengers villain. He was also a big sort of Wasp and Ant-Man kind of villain. But this issue is his first appearance. All right. And then we get issue number 50, To Tame a Titan. All right. This is a very fine plus copy at $55. Now, this is the first cameo appearance of Apollo. Apollo is just the Greek god. He's connected to Hercules' family, the Olympus stuff. He pops up a lot later in like 4 books and stuff. Who knows? Maybe he'll get his own Disney Plus series for all you people know. Anyway, Very Fine Plus, $55.
Are these Buscema interiors? All of these?
I believe so, but considering that most of these came in the Mike 11th hour sprint buy, I barely had any time to learn anything about these.
No, that's fair.
So, hey, Zanin, who does the interior art of these issues?
I mean, for sure, Buscema did some of the covers.
No, he's definitely in that. Because I think at this point, were we still in Don Heck territory? Because Kirby was only like the first few issues, if that.
I don't know how many Don Heck did, honestly. Like, I don't know how long that went on for.
Yeah, so, okay.
I know Buscema, like, as it gets towards, like, I didn't know he did them this early. That's why I was curious. But
well, because obviously, like, Neil Adams is the Kree Scroll stuff, which is the late 80s, 90s stuff.
Yeah.
And then once we get into, because like this stuff starts to become Buscema, right? All right, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's move along real quick just so we can. Here we go. This is Avengers number 51 from 1968. This is a very fine copy at $50. All right. And then we have, now we've definitely had this on the show before, but again, this is Avengers issue 107. So we've now skipped over a massive chunk of the series. This is a very fine plus copy at $30. And then I'm pretty sure this is the issue that we talked about last week where Hawkeye quits the Avengers because Steve Englehart didn't like him as a character. So we decided that because Scarlet Witch and probably every other female character in the Avengers didn't want to like sleep with Clint, he decided to quit and take his toys and go home. Literally, he's the baseball pitcher who punches the wall and breaks his pitching hand. He breaks his bow because that's what you do when you quit. You know, break the thing that makes you money. Anyway, this is a fine plus copy at $15.
Well, thank you to Zane. And so, yeah, Don Heck, then Buscema, and I guess Barry Windsor-Smith did issues in the interim or maybe after Buscema. He says he also did a few issues.
Okay.
So, cool. Thank you, Zane.
Thank you, bud. All right, so
easier it would be if you were just here.
Yeah, Zane, man, we got to talk to Trell, dude, because
this back and forth can't keep going on, man. Like, just come and hang out.
Yeah, Zane.
We don't need to make money.
Yeah, say, hey, look, we haven't sold a single book yet, but we're having a good time shooting the shit, talking comics. Next up is Avengers 110. This is when the X-Men show up and Magneto fights them, and yeah. That's it. This is a very fine near mint copy. Now, this is a gorgeous copy. So this bad boy is $65, okay? And the only reason it doesn't have a big tag that says 65 is because I literally got this thing 20 minutes before we went to air. And then the one, okay, now these are, I was really excited when I saw these three because whenever we've had runs of Avengers, for whatever reason, we're always missing these. Now, it's not all of them, and we don't have their corresponding issues in the Defenders, regrettably, but we are looking at these 3 issues are 3 parts of the famous Avengers Defenders War. Here we have part 3. There we go. This is Avengers 116 from 1973, a very fine near mint copy at $50. Look at that awesome Silver Surfer fighting the Vision, and Scarlet Witch is like, no, please don't fall into the volcano, despite the fact that you can become intangible, and so the lava wouldn't hurt you. So why are you so scared he's going to fall into the volcano? Next up is Avengers Defenders War Part 5. This is Avengers issue 117. This is all from 1973. Here you have Namor fighting Captain America on I don't know what that structure is. Anyway, you also get a mystery supervillain. I've never read this issue. Tell me who the mystery supervillain is. Anyway, this is a fine plus copy at $30. And then we have Part 7 and one of the cooler covers of the Avengers Defenders War. This is Avengers 118. This is a very fine near mint copy where you find out that, yes, you guessed it, Dormammu and Loki have been behind this the whole time, pitting these two teams against each other so they can all, I don't know, make out, make love to each other. I'm not sure what the actual end game here was. It can't all be for death. I mean, come on. Are we always trying to just kill each other? Good Lord, people. Very fine near mint copy of issue 118 for $40.
So can I get the Namor fighting Captain America issue?
Yes.
Thank you. And from the word man,
yeah,
I guess famous archers would break the last bow they use when they retire. And French archers would break their bows before they were captured.
Oh, okay. And Gary, thank you.
And American archers, when they quit a team, break it.
They
petulance.
Like petulant little babies. Because, oh my God, dude, I didn't realize this. Clint Barton is one of the original incels. He got so mad that a woman doesn't want to sleep with him that he probably called her some homophobic term and then he broke his bow.
Start shouting people out. I'm not doing that. Thank you, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, Nick. All right. Next up, we have Avengers 125 with a very iconic Thanos cover. Now, this is pre the annual, so this is still in that era where they were beginning to really seed Thanos as this big cosmic threat across the board. This is a $20 book at a fine grade. There we go. And then we have now we've had this one before, right around when we were having shows. What, is it really funny? Do I want to know?
So American archers don't break their bows because they need them to save French archers. That's good.
Is this going to be like one of those Franco-American, back and forths?
It's a World War II thing.
Do you realize that the English hates both of us, the French and the Americans?
Whatever.
I've heard...
Drink some coffee.
Do you know the most disliked foreign tourist in any country seems to be the English? The English don't travel well, as certain articles that have been written over the past year.
Right?
Supposedly,
in the past year,
in terms of ranking of decades, of so different countries rank, and so some websites have decided to compile these because they get a lot of people angry and everyone yells and they get a lot of clickbait. But the one group of people who seem to come out somewhere always at the top are the English.
Interesting. Hey, Ashley, you watching?
Oh, no.
What happened?
Ashley, we're not talking about you.
What happened?
Well, hey, when I lived in England, nobody was more boorish than Americans, especially if they were from Texas.
Number one.
Yeah, number one at what? Anyway, this issue is a key issue. This is issue 135 of Avengers. This is a fine minus copy at $10. This is the beginning of the origin of the Vision. This is when you're beginning to find out about his body was the recontextualized, repurposed android body of the original Human Torch. You're also finding out that Ultron used Simon Williams / Wonder Man's psyche, brain patterns, whatever, to merge, to create the Vision. These issues, well, specifically I only have this one, but this was about a 4 or 5 issue subplot that was popping up a bunch, and this is one of the big meaty ones where you really get into the origin of the Vision and his tie to Ultron. This is a fine minus copy at $10. And then we have here with a beautiful Jack Kirby cover. This is Avengers 151. This is the issue where the Beast is finally allowed to join the team. Back in issue 137 of the Avengers, he asked to join the team. They said, You're on probation. We need a 3-month period to find out if you really deserve your benefits. So I guess he, made it through the probation period, and now he was allowed to join the team. Good for him. So this is a fine copy at $9. In fact, I don't remember which issue it was, but one of these issues is when Hercules joins the Avengers. Maybe I should have remembered. All right. Now we're going to move on to one of my favorite single issues of Marvel Comics ever. We've definitely had a couple copies of this on the show before. This is just the most recent one. Again, we're very lucky to have the Greg Hole in our disposal. Despite its dangers to the rest of us, it's still, it pretty much gives us a job. So this here is Tales to Astonish 100. This is the issue where the Hulk and Namor fight throughout the entire book, all through Miami. They just destroy it. Now, should I make that joke? No, I'm not going to make that joke. There's a lot of tragic stuff that happened in Miami recently. Yeah. And some human beings should, I don't know, do their jobs better. Because you don't need a bunch of fictional characters to knock buildings down, okay? There's a bunch of jackasses out there that just really letting us down, all right? Anyway, this is a very good plus copy at $20. And then we have a little book. This is not the same one that we had a few episodes ago, which somebody claimed and then came in and said, I got this already. And we said, hey, man, no problem. If you want a better copy, this is slightly better. And this is Strange Tales 154. This is a very good copy at $15. I think the one we had before was like good.
It was like a $9 copy.
Yeah, it was like half this price.
It was pretty busted.
Yeah, it was very busted. And I don't blame that customer at all who came in, looked at it, and went, I don't want this anymore. It's okay if you didn't really have it. We will. Hey. Anyway, $15. Very good.
For anybody who claims books and don't want to pick them up, just let us know. Don't let us sit on the books for years and years and years without picking them up. It's okay if you don't want it, if you have it, or it's not the condition you want.
Yeah, no problem.
Just verbalize it.
Because the sooner we know is the sooner we can attempt to sell it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because again, we don't exist unless we sell books.
We would much rather you get what you want and not stick us with products.
Yeah, because Mike inevitably blames Al and I, and then he yells at us a lot, and then one of us might pee himself a little bit because it's so stressful, okay? And no one wants to see anyone pee themselves, especially on camera. Yeah, okay? Just so we're clear. Now, when we recently did a whole run of Strange Tales books, this one was not part of it. So let's give everyone an opportunity to check out Strange Tales 160. Now, this is a good copy at $11, but that is a really cool Doctor Strange cover. He's fighting Baron Mordo, who's back again. You even get some Nick Fury in there. I'm pretty sure this image of Doctor Strange here has been used in multiple promotional materials of Doctor Strange dating back to the 70s. In fact, I'm pretty sure this image is what popped up in a bunch of the pop art posters and stickers and stuff like that Marvel used to do throughout the 70s. I bet you that this was also a Slurpee image. I believe so. Anyway, like I said, this is a good copy at $11. I apologize. I don't know what actually happens in this issue because this was one of the many Mike in the 11th Hour books. All right.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And then we'll be back for this top show.
Okay. Excellent.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
Pulling back from the Greg hole. Here we go. All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm Cash. This is Tango. We're hanging out here, selling comic books, talking comic books. Obviously, anyone who is interested in some of the Avengers that we have, we move them off to the side for now. If you're curious about anything, we can get back to it later. But until then, we're going to talk about a bunch of just strange stuff, okay? From this point forward, most of these, there's not any real big ticket items, nothing that I would consider to be all that key per se. But at the same time, I want sort of the full breadth of some comic book stuff here. And I have even some weirder stuff over here. We'll probably have plenty of time to get to them because we've barely been doing this for half an hour. So the first thing we are going to talk about is this little row up here that we haven't had a chance to get to. Mike was able to find a bunch of Texas Chainsaw Massacre comics. Something I'm definitely Starhawk.
That's fair.
There's a joke there. So the first thing we're doing, we're going to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay, so like the local show that we've had earlier tonight, where we talked about our cross bundles, and we were very open to the idea that we probably shouldn't show off too much of the covers because they are pretty brutal. These Texas Chainsaw Massacre covers that are specifically from the Avatar print, who published Cross as well, those covers I'm probably going to hang back a little bit, but these are all relatively affordable. So if anyone is just looking for some old, Texas Chainsaw Massacre comics and stuff like that, let's give them a look. All right. So the first one we have up here is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Grind one-shot. You could probably, Lord Howard Hurts, if your TV is as big as you say it is, you can probably easily see this image, but I'm not going to hold it up to the camera because it is, let's say, extremely gory. Extremely gory. Anyway, this book is only $3.
Thank you, Mr. Kiernan. You got your Avengers 46.
His first appearance of Whirlwind. All right. Cool, man. All right. Next up, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Grind, issue number 2. So that was not a one-shot. I was wrong. That's issue 1. This is issue 2. Now this one, it's bloody, but it's not as gory. There's not intestines falling out all over the place. Anyway, this is a $3 book. And then we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Grind number 3, that has, let's say, some allusions to sexual violence. So I'm not going to hold the cover up too close. But issue number 3 of this series is, again, only $3. And now we get into the Wildstorm era by Abnett and Lanning when they were still a writing duo. This is Texas Chainsaw Massacre by himself, issue number 1. All right, and that bad boy is only $3.50. And then we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Wildstorm, Raising Cain, issue number 1. This is a $3.50 book. This is issue 1 of 3.
Thank you, Mr. Maines.
All right. And then we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, issue number 2. Now, this one... All right, so... You okay?
What is this cover, man? This is wild.
I know.
He's just hiding in the woods.
I know. With his erect phallus.
Yeah,
look at the way it's...
Shout out to Leatherface if you watch.
Okay, so So we only have the one issue, the first issue of the Raising Cain miniseries. The By Himself is a one-shot. And then we have 2 issues from the original Wildstorm miniseries. We are missing issue number 1, but this is issue number 2 at $3.50. And this is issue number 3 at $3.50 with a really cool Derek Robertson cover. And then to finish it off is another one of the Avatar. This is issue 1, the body count cover. This is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Fear Book. And once again, I don't feel comfortable enough putting this any closer to the screen. Even though I know there are no kids watching, I'm still sensitive enough to not rub it in anybody's face. There we go. And this is $4.
To add in the chat, there's different cover artists for each of the issues. The issue in question is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, issue number 2, the terror cover of the Grind series. Yes. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Grind, issue number 2, the terror cover. If anybody's interested, who do you think did that? What's his name, right?
Yeah,
Jose
RYP.
RYP. I can't think of the guys. I can't think of his name.
Juan Jose Ripe.
Is that right?
He's so good.
It's super. It's like Jeff Darrow.
He did Black Summer. He did No Hero.
He did a ton of the Avatar stuff.
So much of it. In fact, he's part of the only reason I bought some Avatar books. Yeah, Jeff Darrow is a great comp.
He's
very detailed.
It's like hyper detailed, ultraviolet stuff, but he's really good.
He did that book. Did it come out from Image called Clone? And then
that's right.
Yeah, and recently I think he has been doing some DC work, but I think he's toned some of the detail down so he can. Yeah. Well,
So he won't take an hour and a half doing like a panel.
A panel. Yeah. All right. So those are the few Texas Chainsaw Massacre books that we had. We wanted to give some people a chance to take a look at those because when it comes to Leatherface, Freddy Krueger, or Jason Voorhees, even Michael Myers, I think at this point, it's really hard to find those comic books with them.
The Child's Play books are hard.
Yeah.
All the horror books are very hard to come by.
Except Full Moon. If you want Full Moon books, Charles Band will come to your house and probably just draw and write them for you. Oh my God, there's Full Moon movies.
I can't speak for all of it. The Wildstorm stuff was actually pretty good.
Well, Abnett and Lanning were just a good. Plus, also early Wes. I don't know if it's early, but Wes Craig, who's an artist that I really fell for in regards to Rick Remender's Deadly Class. He does some of the art in there when he was still doing his slightly more representational style. Okay, now we're going to move on to a few books that we have over here. Again,
Mr. Hunter's here.
Yo, Art, you showed up. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Cool. Welcome back.
Always good to see everybody, especially the familiars. Okay. So again, there's no big theme per se. This is more just kind of just excited to just find some interesting stuff. Obviously, we have had different copies of this series on the show before. This is the Midnight Suns Unlimited. It only ran for 9 issues. This is issue number 9. It's the final issue of that run. But what makes this book unique is you get a really cool Alex Ross cover. It's a beautiful painted Alex Ross cover. This was from 1995, so we're still in Marvel's era Alex Ross, pre-Kingdom Come, post-Terminator Burning Earth. So his style is really sort of coming into its own at this point. This is a full, complete story. Is it full, complete? Or is there multiple? Oh, yeah. There's 2 storylines in this book. The first one is written by Dan Slott, illustrated by James Fry III. It's all about the Blazing Skull, who's referred to as Ghost Rider 1945. And then you also get a Legion of Night backup written by Steve Gerber, illustrated by a gentleman I'm not aware of, Alan Hopkins. Anyway, this is a very fine Yearman copy at $5. We also have, for anyone who's still interested, we found another copy of Morbius #1, the first solo series of this character, also part 3 of 6 of the Midnight Suns storyline that's been very hot in recent months. This is, again, fully polybagged, very fine near mint, $8 book. And then we have, back when Marvel used to do more of these kind of like prestige format, square bound sort of one-shots. This is the Acts of Vengeance, Ghost Rider and Wolverine. I believe Howard Mackey writes this. You get an Alan Davis, Paul Neary cover, but I'm not super positive who the interior art is done by. Maybe I should have made a note of that, but for whatever reason, I didn't. So take that as you will. And then we have, this is a very fine minus copy, which is why it's only $10. But this is a very, unique book. This is Batman 608, written by Jeff Loeb, illustrated by Jim Lee. This was part 1 of the Hush storyline that was quite big back in the early 2000s. This issue came out in December of 2002. So again, it all begins here. No, this is not the first appearance of Hush. I believe that's an issue or 2 later. You also get the first implications that Jason Todd might be coming back. This is the beginning of that storyline. Most of the issues that kind of knocks its grade down to a very fine minus are really just there's some stress here along the spine. But other than that, it's a gorgeous copy. Again, $10. Just for the sake of just some fun, how familiar are you with Catwolf, Al?
I know he shows up on the cover of a few Captain America issues. Catwolf is never my favorite.
No, in fact, I will say that as somebody who had been collecting Captain America at that point for almost a decade, Catwolf is when they lost me, which is weird because I usually like absurd, strange crap that just doesn't make a lick of sense, but maybe it was...
I think Catwolf, because I had a subscription from Marvel at the time.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that's around when I kind of let it lapse.
Yeah, 1992.
It wasn't my thing.
This was the Infinity War crossover issue where Catwolf fights Captain America with Spike Shield, Razor Shield. I don't know what the heck's going on there.
Why, that's a flying guillotine.
Yeah, dude, it is. But real quick, though, if you were a doppelganger of Captain America, you have bat wings as instead of the eagle thing. Your suit is black, you have spiky teeth, and your shield is a razor-sharp flying guillotine. Yet, Captain America at the time is Catwolf. So, why is he not like, I don't know, an animal, like a badger, or a Wolverine, or, I would think that a cosmic entity who's creating doppelgangers of all the heroes would know the status of the Captain America comic book.
Jason says it's the 90s, leave it alone.
Don't worry. I'm just going to let everyone know I am absolutely creating a 90s episode. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm slowly building it up. So if you feel you missed out on gimmick covers and you missed out on really bad comic book ideas, don't worry, because we're going to remind you.
We're gonna rock some Stonewash.
Yes.
Backwards.
Which is why, in a way, maybe I gave it away, but that's why I wanted to let everyone know about this beauty of a comic. Again, very fine to admit, $3. You know, this isn't a big financial burden on anybody. If you wanted for $3 to buy a Catwolf issue, put it up on your wall, and whenever women or men come to your house, before you get biblical with them, you can be like, Catwolf. And they'll be like, all right, dude, I got to leave. I'm just saying.
If they don't know who Catwolf is, it's like, nah, you got to leave.
I was going to say, it's a conversation starter.
If anything.
Yeah. Put it right above your bed. Right there. You know, and people are like, what am I looking at? And you're like, yeah, that's a Catwolf. Catwolf. I mean, like, I get it in theory to a certain degree.
Who threw that at the fucking wall?
Right. I God, man. And it was like that weird era. Okay, so after Catwolf, who, by the way, fights Cable, like it was in that era.
No, he lasted for a minute.
Yeah.
He was around for a while.
But then, do you know what ended the Catwolf story? Captain America doesn't have his super soldier serum anymore.
Thor.
And he gets Cap armor. Remember when he had the... And Dave Hoover, I think, was the artist who at the time was a bodybuilder who also drew comics. And so he drew everybody as if they had steroids. And I mean, like, the steroids were like your thigh muscles detaching from your bone.
I mean, that's the 90s. You got muscles on muscles on muscles.
Muscles on muscles on muscles. It looks like cancerous tumors, okay?
It's if all Liefeld's pockets were flesh.
That's what the pocket pouches were. An editor went, "Yo, Rob, seriously, man, those aren't muscles." And Rob's like,
"Too many muscles."
So he's like, "All right, I know what I'll do. I'll make them pouches." By the way, we should start a running gag, or not a real running gag, but we should begin to compile what are in the Rob Liefeld pouches. All right, and it's some point.
It's rolls of money.
Rolls of money. Yeah. It's all those button fly jean commercials money.
It's the keys to all his cars.
It's his health insurance cards that he has, unlike a lot of these writers and artists who are dying in the streets.
He's like, "No, this is another contract for a cover."
All right. Okay, so a lot of you are probably familiar with this series. This is Marvel Comics Presents. Now, what you're familiar with is probably the fact that I believe its entire running its run that went well into, I think, the 130s, 140s, maybe even the 150s. They were always flip books. So you had 3 stories, and they were all continuing from one issue to the other. And so a lot of times you had a front cover and a back cover, flip book, all that kind of fun stuff. I believe, but don't hold me to this, this might be the one exception, okay? This is Marvel Comics Present 100. Now, this story is actually a complete one-story, one-shot starring the Ghost Rider, Wolverine versus Dr. Doom and Nightmare, illustrated by Sam Keith, not just the cover, but the entire interior art is Sam Keith with art assists by Tim Vigil.
Really?
Yes. Now, Tim Vigil is an artist that I always think should be bigger. Admittedly, he worked the book I'm most familiar with is the book Faust.
Cross has nothing on Faust.
No, it doesn't.
We can't even show. Never mind.
Like, if I had issues of Faust, I wouldn't show them, but I would sure tell you everything that's happening in them.
They're hard to get through.
Man, dude, some of those covers, especially because they were the kind of covers that would come where like half of it you couldn't see, like it would come like a little bit of a cardboard.
More like Faust more than any other book. A lot of customers would be like, "No, I tapped out." Like they just could, they stopped reading it.
Too brutal.
It was too much. It's very brutal.
And Tim Vigil's art, for anyone who's not familiar, is extremely detailed. It's kind of like that guy Reap, who we're having difficulty fully remembering the name, Jeff Darrow. Like when he drew a phallus, it had a lot of veins. Way too many.
Like when I draw it. A lot more than that, though.
In fact, the first Faust comic I ever bought, I was a young kid, and it was the Oakland Fat Jacks. Where
were you like a young kid, like pre-high school?
Yes, okay. yes. Right. And the guy who worked there at the time hated kids so much, he barely even looked at what they were purchasing. Now, admittedly, I kept all this from my mother, and I'm not even sure she would have really cared that much either way. But I will say, I got one over on the dude who hated the kids by buying a comic book that probably was, let's say, I was too young for. And it brought up uncomfortable feelings.
Put it this way, I'm too young for Faust now.
And again, a book out of print. You can't see it anymore. I don't even know what Tim Vigil, I hope you're out there. I hope you're happy. You have found joy in this world, and you're still making art, man.
We had at some point we had like a full run of grips in here, and they all went within like a week.
Yes,
like we found this whole stack of grips. So if anybody's interested, like grips is
It's early Vigil, pre-Faust.
It's not as graphic or sexual in any way, but it's hyper violent, and it's worth your time. Just image search it. It's definitely worth your time.
Well, it probably doesn't have a bunch of demons with really large genitalia. Let's say sexually assaulting the people.
Yeah, not as many for sure.
Yeah. Hey everyone, it was the late 80s. Anyway, this book, which is Sam Keith with some Tim Vigil art assists, this is a very fine plus copy at $4.
Real quick, Marvel Comics Presents went to $175.
Oh, wow.
So
damn,
that's worth knowing. And Tim Vigil, they go hand in hand, him and Sam Keith. Like they're very not similar styles, but you can see how they could work together.
Actually, that brings up a really good point. Something that I noticed, I'll bring out right now. It wasn't planned, but I'm going to bring it out just so I can talk about it because it kind of fits. Okay, so while I was trying to escape the Greg hole the other day, I came upon the Pacific Comics was an imprint in, I guess, the 80s. I don't know how far out of the 80s they lasted. They were definitely, but they were part of the black and white boom, and then they started doing some color stuff and everything. Now, for a lot of you, you're probably familiar with this artist. He really blew up in the public consciousness of the comic book industry during the Marvel Zombies fad, where he did all the zombie covers and stuff like that. I'm talking about Arthur, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing the name, Sidam. Anyway, wonderful, great painter, an exceptional artist, all that kind of stuff. I can't speak for who he is as a human being, so please don't at me. I have no idea. I'm only talking about the art. But the reason I bring this up in regards to talking about like Sam Keith and stuff like that is I found these two issues. This is Demon Dreams #1 and Demon Dreams #2. Okay? Now, each of these issues is Arthur Sidam, whatever. I'm going to call him Arthur from this point forward. He wrote and illustrated sort of his versions of like EC Comics kind of stuff. So they're all self-contained stories. In fact, this one is extremely sexual. Has a bit of a lot of sexual violence towards women. So just fair warning. But the thing that I noticed when looking at his artwork is, and I believe that these were from the late 80s, but his artwork looked like this weird kind of mix of Sam Keith with Vaughn Bodie. Like, I got like dude, it's like here, like pop that one open and take a look at the first story, the kind of the uncomfortable sexual one.
I mean, the cover's gorgeous.
I mean, yeah, the painted cover is gorgeous and everything, but the interior art is what really blew my mind because it's not like his painting style is a little bit more Frazetta-y or like it's just gorgeous and everything. But his actual interior pages reminded me more, like I said, of this kind of combo of peak Sam Keith and Vaughn Bodie. For anyone who doesn't know who Vaughn Bodie is, look him up. He's one of the best underground artists of all time. Cheech Wizard people.
This is really nice. This is gorgeous.
Right? And again, each of these issues are very fine year mints. They're only $3. In fact, a lot of the books we're going to be dealing with from this point going forward, thank God Mike brought in Fantastic Four Annual #6 because we're going to pretty much just sell cheap books from this point forward, primarily just to kind of like talk about some different stuff. And again, like, oh yeah, I know. He saw what I was talking about.
All right. Well, shout out to Mr. Freeze. He's taking them both.
Oh, cool, excellent. Honestly, you're gonna get a real kick out of these.
Yeah, this is just for the art alone.
Yeah,
these are gorgeous.
I never knew they existed, and I was really happy to kind of like stumble upon them.
See, that's the kind of shit that annoys me. These were sitting in this shop for however many years.
Yeah,
and I don't even know.
And you just don't even know. And again, like I don't know. I'm not even sure if I was aware of Arthur as an artist before, like everybody else. I got exposed to his covers during the Marvel Zombies run. So here we go.
Thank you.
And so just
Thank
so
you, Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze, I really hope you enjoy them. Again, they're all like EC style stories. So they're self-contained. I don't even know how many issues of that run even happened. Maybe it's just those two. Okay, so while Al takes a quick look at some more of that awesome art.
He's from Trenton, Arthur Sykes.
Yes, he is. He's from Trenton, New Jersey. That is right. Yeah.
Trenton makes, baby.
Trenton. Okay, so next up is this book. I don't know if I remember this, but this book actually was never on sale. It was a giveaway at one point. This is Magneto #0. You have a gorgeous Bill Sienkiewicz cover, and then inside, this issue reprints 2 backup stories from Classic X-Men 19 and 20. For anyone who's not familiar, Classic X-Men in the 80s into the 90s would reprint usually a Claremont era X-Men story from the 70s and early 80s, and then would usually have a backup feature, a lot of times written by Chris Claremont. So he kind of like fills in gaps and stuff like that in regards to whatever the reprint issue was. That's where you get Jean Grey in the Afterlife when she's sitting on that weird cosmic skyscraper where the guy keeps building more floors. It's supposed to be an analog for like heaven and stuff like that. But this one was a backup feature in Classic X-Men 1920, written by Chris Claremont, illustrated by John Bolton. Admittedly, John Bolton, I'm a huge fan of his painted work. It's gorgeous. He's definitely one of the best cover artists that the comic industry has ever had. His interior illustrations are very much more representational kind of styles. And this was the beginning of Claremont working out more of Magneto's origin, specifically the loss of his first love and his past relationship with Nazis and the Holocaust. This is a very fine copy at $4. And most of what knocks this grade down is a little bit of stress here on the spine.
Can I get the Magneto Zero?
Yes.
Security.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Gorgeous Bill Sienkiewicz cover, like I said. And speaking of Bill Sienkiewicz, and speaking of another, for anyone who's not aware, we are on Instagram. And just so we're clear, because I've had to say this to a few people, we are the first and only Fat Jack's Comic Crypt Instagram that has ever existed.
So far.
So far. And every now and again, we will put up an image or so. And for whatever reason, some pop off more than others.
What's our Instagram handle?
Yes, our Instagram handle is at the FJC Paradox. Or just go to Instagram, go to the search, and type in Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. It'll be the first thing to come up. Also, if you want, you can type Fat Jack's Comic Crypt Instagram into Google. The first thing that will come up is a link to the locator aggregate that Instagram does. And all of our posts now, the location tag is Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. So they all start to fill into that little location tag aggregate where other people who have put personal posts up here at our shop during signings or buying books, their images will be there too.
There's a bunch of you on there.
Yes, and we're even perpetuating the hashtag Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. So if you want to tag us in any Instagram posts, it's the FJC Paradox, or you can use the hashtag Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Okay, so with that said, an image that was recently posted and got a lot of love is a gorgeous, and word man, if you're out there, your comment was spot on. I can only imagine Bill Sienkiewicz trying to pitch this cover to Marvel nowadays. Here we have an issue of Dazzler, issue number 27. Again, I don't really know what happens in this issue, but this cover is gorgeous. Again, this is Bill Sienkiewicz. He did a lot of Dazzler covers, actually. And if you're curious and you want to see a better high-res version of this cover, you can check out our Instagram page. It's there. It's only from a few days ago. But if anyone wants to own this cover and kind of hold it up on their wall or just celebrate this gorgeous beauty of a piece, it'll only cost you $3. It's a fine plus copy, but most of that is because the pages are not as they're not as white or creamy as they could be. They're a little, it's aged, but the cover still looks gorgeous. All right.
To Mr. Morales, we don't have any graded books on the show slate for today. If you want to email us at the email ticket on the bottom, I can send you a list of what we do have on offer. I think in our Jersey store at the moment.
Cool.
So just let me know if you're interested. Just email.
Now, sticking with the theme of again. Showing off, if anyone enjoys a certain cover, a certain image, and you want to own it, here's your opportunity. Again, another piece that was quite popular. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous image. It was one that got a lot of love on our Instagram page. This is Swamp Thing, issue number 129. This is during the Nancy A. Collins run. But if you're looking to purchase this book for $3, you're probably purchasing it for this unbelievable Charles Vess painted cover. Look at that. Like his guts are spilling out and stuff like that. but he's a plant. So we can show this. This isn't gory or violent because he's a plant. And that's vegetables, not guts. Anyway, look at this cover, man. It's fucking beautiful. And then going along with that cover thing, here is the cover of a recent image that we had up there. This is All-Star Squadron number 29. This is the Dr. Fate versus Spectre issue. This is, again, a fine copy at $4. And then we have two issues from the Supervillain Team Up. This one being a big one. This was a big hit on the gram. This is the Red Skull Returns, and Red Skull and Dr. Doom fight Captain America. This is Supervillain Team Up issue number 10. Fine plus at $8. And then we have the fun Supervillain Team Up issue number 8, where Namor punches an elephant. Just love it.
Because Namor's a jerk, man. I told you.
He is a jerk, man.
Like, nah, fuck that.
But hey, in all fairness, that elephant looks like he's about to step on that kid. Though I'm pretty sure Namor doesn't know that. Namor just wanted to punch an elephant.
Namor probably pushed that kid under the elephant's foot.
You know what? That is absolutely what Namor did. He's like, screw that kid. He's like, if the elephant doesn't kill that kid, I'm going to punch that kid. Anyway, this issue is a fine plus at $6. Good times. And okay, so just kind of finishing off this little theme of fun little covers that have recently appeared on our Instagram page. Here is a very good plus copy for $4 of Wonder Woman in space on the wing of her invisible jet, which is very visible for some reason, fighting hellhounds. Because fiery hellhounds are, for whatever reason, floating in space.
Why wouldn't they be?
And then you get a really fun. Now, okay, all right. I just want to be clear. This is a strange cover, right? This is a fun little cover of Cheetah versus Wonder Woman. Good time. It's only $2 if anyone's interested in it. But here it's labeled as Rich Buckler and Dick Giordano. But on the internet, especially if you look it up on DC Fandom or a couple other sites, instead of Rich Buckler, they credit Ross Andrew. Now, I don't know why Buckler's name would be on this cover, but yet it was Andrew doing it. I'm not sure. So I don't know if the internet's wrong, because just in case you don't know, if you read it on the internet, it's not always true. In fact, I would say most of it isn't true. Yeah, I know. Big surprise, right? The internet is lying to you most of the time.
So those pills aren't going to make it bigger?
No. And if you get your news primarily from Facebook, you're probably a dumb person.
Just join Facebook for the news.
All right. So fun times. And once again, we're constantly trying to get people to be mad at us. All right. Next up, we have a fun little series. This was the Not Brand Ek run of Marvel when they were doing a lot of like fun little parodies of their own characters, of DC characters, things of that nature. And this issue here is issue number 7. This is a very good copy at $8, and you get the origin of the Fantastical Four, and you get the origin of Superman, not to be confused with Supreme or Dr. Manhattan or Captain Marvel, or I can't think of. There's another character with like a cape, red and blue. I'm missing it. But here, you get even a $sign as a symbol because he's Superman. So is he supposed to be stupid, or does he put people in a stupor? Yeah, I don't know either. I don't get it. Maybe someone smarter than me will get it. But, so there you go. Good old Not Brand Ek. Can't go wrong.
Shazam. Thank you, Lord Howard.
Shazam. That was the one I was thinking of. Right. And there's probably others. Hyperion. Yes. Yeah, that's definitely one.
Gladiator.
Yes. Oh, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You're always the best.
Gladiator with Russell Crowe. Mr. Barucci's going to claim Red Skull. I'm assuming the Supervillain Team Up.
Yes, Supervillain Team Up.
Thank you, Mr. Barucci.
That's a great cover. I think that's a Gil Kane cover. I put whatever it is. The Instagram page credits all the artists.
If you see one of the books on the Instagram page and you're curious and it's not on the show, just ask us during the week. Anything you see on the show or on the Instagram is always for sale in the shop.
Very rarely will a post be created from a book that we don't have for sale. And obviously, if you see the
first appearance of Moon Knight.
Well, okay, there's the exception that proves the rule. Okay,
he got excited. That's all it is.
Yeah.
He got excited.
I never saw it before. There it was. What's the purpose of this stupid social media thing if we can't be like, look at this, guys? Isn't this awesome? You know. But yeah, definitely. If you ever see like Henry figured it out. Usually, if there's multiple covers in a post, it's usually a bundle. Yeah. And we got a bunch of bundles. Maybe we'll get to them. Real quick, in terms of, again, this is more of a cover thing. We have a Justice Society of America, issue number 3 from April of 2007. That is a beautiful Alex Ross cover of the legacy character Cyclone. But also, this issue is the first appearance of, you guessed it, the 5th Wildcat. Because if you can't get the first Wildcat, can't get the second, you're not interested in the third, and the 4th is problematic, don't worry, because you can have the first appearance of the 5th Wildcat.
That's hot.
I'm pretty sure this one is where the Wildcat actually has a cat head.
We're gonna take a quick break.
Oh, it's break time. All right.
We'll catch you guys in a minute.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
All right. So this is the final hour of us here, Cash and Tango. I need a little boost here. So this beautiful concoction is some of the stuff that I scrape off of the walls of the Greg hole. I find that they have certain psychotropic properties to them, with slight stimulation aspects to them as well. So excuse me a moment as I quickly guzzle this stuff down. So good.
Snyder, you watching? How was that? We didn't both leave. We're just not doing anything.
Yeah, is that dead air, Snyder? Is that what it is?
I can hear you gulping it.
Yeah. I bet you can hear me gulping it. It's gulpable.
Gulp. More obscure. Kurt Russell is.
Wait, what?
Kyle's just phoning it in for the rest of the show.
Oh, nice.
He's eating his dinner. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, he's probably, Mr. Nobody, from the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Jack Burton.
The best.
Jack Burton.
Rocky
Rocky Balboa.
Is that obscure? Who's Rocky?
That's the only one I can think of.
Who's Rocky? I mean, we're from Philadelphia, and I've never heard of Rocky before in my life. All right, everyone. Before we complete, we still have an hour. Usually when we get like this, we have like maybe a half an hour left. So we can't be doing that. So let us get back to a lot more of our weird, little obscure, strange, not that strange. Yes?
The question about Avengers Annual number 2. Zaynan's inquiring. Do you know anything
about Zaynan, did you not hear? No, that dude bought it. Yeah, he pulled the trigger on it. For anyone who doesn't know, Avengers Annual number 2 is the first appearance of the Scarlet Centurion, who is one of the many facets of Kang the Conqueror. That never made it out of the Jersey shop. Somebody definitely didn't want to let that one go. So I'm so sorry, Zaynan, but we missed out on that. All right, because I wanted you to get that. In fact,
I would have got it for you, Zaynan.
Yeah, when Mike showed up today, I was like, Mike, do you have Avengers Annual number 2? He's like, I got number 7. I was like, that's not what I asked. And he's like, no, I sold it. I made money. I'm doing my job, something you two idiots never do. And I go, Mike, come on, man. We're the flavor. Like, we're the sugar in the coffee. Right? Am I wrong? Or are we the...
So we got books to sell?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Speaking of books... all right, so here we go. Everyone in America loves vigilantes because, that's how we all want to deal with our problems in this world. So not to be ignored or not to be lapped by the Punisher, a character who is always more interesting as a supporting character. There's a reason why Punisher movies aren't good.
Except for the Dolph Lundgren. Holds up.
You mean the one where... Except he calls himself the movie title is The Punisher.
I say it holds up. I haven't seen that since like 1990, but holds up. Best Punisher movie.
Well, it's okay. It's better than him wearing a motorcycle helmet, driving a motorcycle, defeating an enemy of his that is normally German, but for some reason is Italian, who never... It's like if the Punisher never took his gun off of his motorcycle, yet his gun is the thing that defines him the most. I wonder what movie I'm referring to. Anyway, here we are is Vigilante, a Fine Plus copy at $4. If you ever wanted a New York Gazette a newspaper cover with a dude in a weird jumpsuit pointing a gun at you, this is your book. It's only $4. I don't know what else to say about it.
If everybody could hit the like and subscribe button.
Oh, that's when we beg.
Well, Mr. Brucci's right. We're dicking around.
What do you mean dicking around? This is the show!
That's what he said. He said, if you're enjoying the show, hit the like and subscribe.
Okay, now we're moving on to another obscure comic book. A random issue of G.I. Combat, number 267. Vigilante doesn't even want to stand up anymore. Here we go. G.I. Combat 267 with a gorgeous Joe Kubert cover. Is there anything about... It's got multiple stories in it. I think one story is actually, I think we're at a point where we started telling Vietnam stories.
It's the first appearance of the Viet Cong in the GI combat issue.
Don't hold us to that.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
Don't listen to anything I say, for sure.
The haunted tank is still kicking around, and they're about to go over the edge. Don't worry. If I've learned anything from Fast and the Furious movies, if a large vehicle is going off the edge, all you have to do is just run really fast and jump off, and someone will catch you. Promise you.
Did you see it? Is there a new one? There's a new one.
There's a new one. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. I'm debating on which is the first movie I go back to the theater for. Probably, I said Dune, but probably by the time Dune comes out, we'll be on the lockdown again.
I pulled the trigger. Purge, forever purge.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. We were the only ones in the theater. It was awesome.
Were they mad that they had to play the movie?
I don't care.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
I mean, you're the only one in the theater. You can't have a bad time.
That is a really good point.
You talk as loud as you want. You can smoke and drink and take your pants off.
Oh, that's great. Did you? No.
I didn't do anything.
Oh.
I watched the movie
Just watched the
very
movie.
politely. It was fun.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Yeah. Well, GI Combat. It's a very good plus copy at $5.
So you didn't go see Blackwood up?
No, I did not.
Okay.
No, I had to take my dog to the vet and get her
that's right. Yeah,
her broken foot cast changed.
You did tell me that.
Yes. So I missed out on Black Widow. All right, so here we go. Zainin, I want to thank you for pointing these out to me. This is Superboy 157. This is a very good plus copy at $10. But the reason why Zainin and I got really excited talking about these Superboy issues is they're all inked by Wally Wood. This was that era. And if there's an artist that I've really kind of grown to love more in my middle-age existential life, it's the man who committed suicide at his art desk, who drank and smoked himself to poor health and multiple failed marriages.
I feel like it's a Wally Wood quote. And he says, if I had it to do over again, I'd have chopped my fucking hands off.
Well, considering how he ended his life,
I mean,
it might have been better for him. But for us, we get, let's be honest, Wally Wood, no matter what you think about him, stone cold, one of the greatest comic book artists that this industry has ever created, okay?
sure.
That is beyond the shadow of a doubt. And again, all joking aside, please, suicide is not a fun. Talk to somebody, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But I will not deny the fact that so many of my heroes in many different fields all seem to be junkies, depressive people, angry people, and people who usually take their own lives. I don't know what that says about me, but seek help if you need it. With that said, though, this is a wonderful issue where this 80s blonde bully eats some kind of irradiated banana and becomes a bully and bullies Superboy. But then Superboy joins up with a gorilla and they defeat the bully. And then the bully says that he'll never eat another banana in his entire life. And the whole time I'm thinking, that dude's going to have some real potassium problems, like some really bad shin splints or something. Anyway, this is a fun little Superboy book. But the big thing was Zane and I were having a wonderful time talking about Wally Wood.
Wait, I'm sorry. So Wally Wood did the inking over who's the pencil?
That I'm not too sure. Whoever it was is somebody who I barely know.
No,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you had mentioned.
No, I didn't. Rob Brown. It's probably some innocuous name like Rob Brown.
Crusty Bunker.
Yeah, probably a crusty bunker or something like that. Because I think I might have said this last show, but I want to say it again. Zainin, thank you very much for pointing this out. For anyone who's not aware of this amazing book that has recently come out, it's this from the Jack Kirby Collector kind of series from Tomorrow Publishing. This is the Old Gods and New collection that has lots of wonderful concept art from the Fourth World era stuff, but it's got a lot of interesting anecdotes. And one of the big anecdotes that I was not aware of at the time was that when Kirby was coming over to DC, he and Wally Wood were planning to work together again. I think for the first time since Challengers of the Unknown, which was like a 10, 15 years prior. And again, think about Fourth World Kirby with Wally Wood inks. Like mind-blowing. But instead, Kirby got stuck with Vince Colletta. And hey, if you are a family member of Vince Colletta, I hope he was a loving man. And, you know, I want nothing bad to happen to him or anything of that nature. But Colletta, as an artist myself and as somebody who really appreciates Kirby and stuff, I understand making a deadline, but you made choices sometimes that legitimately destroyed the art. Like you broke like rules, not like fun breaking rules, like erased characters that were there in the panel so other characters wouldn't look like they were falling over. It's called composition. It's called balance, visual balance, and you would just get rid of it. But anyway, I will always long for Kirby, Wally Wood, Fourth World.
It was Bob Brown, real quickly.
Okay, Bob Brown.
There's a Colletta book called the Thin Black Line, I think.
Okay.
I had a customer order it, and they came in, and Ty was like, "When has he ever drawn a thin black line? What is this? Who created this book?" Anyway, shout out to Vince Colletta.
And hey, I don't know how you feel about Jim Shooter, but you know who was one of the biggest fans of Jim Shooter? Vince Colletta. So I'm pretty sure Vince Colletta being dead will not be on the show, and Jim Shooter, I don't know. You were very mean to kids in the 80s, though. Thank you very much for a lot of the fun Marvel stories that you were editor to. Okay, now that I've completely and utterly demeaned people who are better artists than I will ever be, let's move on to a fun little reprint. This is All-Star Comics number 3. This is that era where DC was putting out these really nice, beautiful reprints of old Golden Age series. This one is obviously a reprint of the issue that introduces us to the Justice Society of America, as you can tell because it says it right there on their table. But this was also, I think, like in that period where the way that they would juice the book up is they would give it like gold foil or like silver ink or something like that. Anyway, this is a very fine near mint copy at $10. Also, I don't know if anyone is familiar. Again, a lot of this is pulled from the Greg Hole. So really, this is a walk down a strange memory lane. Does anyone remember Violent Messiahs? Pretty much a combination of if you took Batman and mixed them with The Silence of the Lambs. This was that era where Image was starting to try to move past the big 7 and try to get to where they are now, which is a true creator-owned imprint with lots of different kinds of stories and concepts. This was a very big comic in the 90s. I bet you that at one point this book was selling for like 30, 40, 50 bucks. Well, it can be yours for $4.
No, that whole series was like a top 10 Wizard. Like you couldn't find those.
Oh my God.
For a long time.
Wizard lost their mind for that kind of stuff.
That was a good book. I mean, I don't remember it, but at the time it was grimy. It was cool.
No, it was a very good book. The other series that came out around that time that also had that same kind of like hype to it was, do you remember the series Red Star, which had a lot of early digital artwork and stuff like that? Yeah, it was like a Russian futuristic, but they had like weird mech.
Did they do like a video game after that, or like
maybe
something?
It's very possible. Okay, now who is familiar with Rick Veitch or Veitch? I think it's Veitch. Veitch. He wrote, considering taking up post Alan Moore, he wrote one of the more interesting Swamp Thing runs. And this is a character that's had a lot of interesting runs. Veitch's run was spectacular. And I especially love it because he quit DC because DC wouldn't let him do his final Swamp Thing story. There was a period where Swamp Thing was sort of traveling and sort of being reborn in specific eras of history. Well, this one issue that Veitch was going to do was that Swamp Thing grows out of the ground just below the feet of a crucified Christ. And then Swamp Thing would spend the issue talking to Christ on the cross. Well, DC said, hey man, it's the 80s. The Christian right is controlling our country. Little did he know they would pretty much take over our country. So DC was like, you can't do that. And Veitch went, peace, I'm out. Screw you people. And around that same time, he was putting out some of the most just in-your-face F you to the industry. Let's be honest about the superhero genre and a lot of its more, let's say, problematic or uncomfortable subtext. And the two series that he put out, Rapid Eye is another beautiful one, but that's all like dream and imagery and subconscious stuff. But the two he did that was like just a shot across the bow in terms of the superhero genre was Brat Pack and Maxi Mortal, okay? So Brat Pack, which we have issue number 1 here, and a cover that I remember as a child just being fascinated by. First of all, this is a very mature series. Like there is literal rape in this issue, but inevitably it's all about the nature of the sidekicks. Obviously, it leans heavily into the homoerotic tension of a lot of adult men with young male boys as sidekicks. I'm looking at you, Batman and Robin. It is all about sort of the kind of kid culture that was coming out of Hollywood in the 80s and the predatory nature of the way that adults take advantage of children. Brat Pack leaned into that heavily. And it had been years since I read this book, and I flipped through that issue, and I was like, holy shit. I mean, it's like, it just bang, 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 bang. He's just firing at all cylinders. And if you want to get even more pissed off with the superhero genre, he put out Maxi Mortal. Okay, now this is only issue number 2, but look, you get a really cool gold foil cover. You get a really beautiful, I love this dude's art and everything. Now again, this is a very fine Year Mint copy at $5. But this is another one. Maxi Mortal, for anyone who's not aware, is Veitch pretty much takes the Ubermensch concept, the Superman, all that kind of stuff. And he imagines what would a character be like that as a child and being raised. And let's say Veitch came on the side of he would be a petulant, sociopathic asshole, and he would be insanely dangerous. The kind of character and concept that would become very popular about 15 to 20 years after this. Rick Veitch was always ahead of his time, but the problem was that he was pissing in the face of the industry that he was working in, and I think a lot of people didn't appreciate that, except if you were a weirdo kid like I was, or if you were, you know, an edgelord adult at the time, or you were just looking for some interesting kind of subtext, very Jungian subtext, and a lot of this stuff. I really do think Rick Veitch doesn't get the credit that he really deserves in regards to the kind of work that he has produced in this art form. Some spectacular stuff. Yes.
We're going to take a quick break, and Mr. Hunter recommends Snake Eyes to everybody.
Oh, the movie came out?
I guess he said,
cool.
He said take a look at it.
All right. Thanks, man.
Cool. I'll check it out.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Perfect timing. I walked in. So considering we probably still have our little heart out, so we have barely 20 minutes left. So let's just kind of get into it. Again, I was talking a lot about Rick Veitch, so I had a few bundles of a series that he put out in the late 2000s. Again, he tended a lot towards satire. And one thing that needed a lot of satire in the late 2000s, it was our disastrous foreign policy by one of the worst presidential administrations ever until a few years ago. I'm talking about and I'm talking about the Iraq War, the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan. And so you get Rick Veitch and Gary Eskin's Army at Love. And so here we have the first bundle is issue 1 through 6. Now this is a $7 bundle. This is the first 6 issues from 2007. Again, this is all pure satire of our consumerism, satire of our foreign policies, satire of the way that our own propaganda and the way we perpetuate our own propaganda. So here we go. This is the issue 7 through 12 of the first volume. When you're a grunt, that's for sure. Look, little sexiness and stuff like that. And then you get, now this is a fun, the final miniseries, the third volume that completes the entire run of Army at Love, was this Army at Love, The Art of War, issue 1 through 6. But the fun thing about this is Veitch took a lot of very famous covers, obviously the Mona Lisa, Whistler's Mother, and he, I think, Scream, what's the one, the Gothic, American Gothic, things of that nature. But he intermingled it with a lot of, again, look at this. If you don't remember an image like this, do you remember the photos of some of our soldiers and kind of stuff that they were putting out and the ways that they were treating prisoners of war? It's satire. It's uncomfortable. It makes people uncomfortable. And if you're uncomfortable by that, then don't worry. I have some 90s nostalgia, cosmic 90s nostalgia. Marvel, our boy Quasar. That's right. Quasar issue 1 through 6. Our little cosmic Avenger running around being cool by Mark Grunwald and Paul Ryan. Again, this is from 1989. This is issue 1 through 6. And then we get issue 7 through 12. $7. He's fighting Cosmic Spider-Man. He's fighting some dude I've never seen before or ever since. But then you get, now this one's fun. Again, if anyone checked out the Instagram page, you saw these covers. This was an interesting little journey, this Journey into Mystery 4-parter. At the time, the Squadron Supreme had been brought to the normal Marvel Universe, but they hadn't popped up in a lot of comics at that point, maybe Avengers a couple times or so, but this was like a reintroduction in 1990 of the Squadron Supreme characters. But this 4-parter, you get like an interesting little collection of cover artists. You get early Jim Lee, early Todd McFarlane, you get that Mike Mignola, who's still in that transitional era that I was talking about, and you get that guy Steve Lytle, who's done just such a ton of covers, and I never fully put my finger on it. It was the same guy. But then you also get 2 issues in the back end there. So there you go. Quasar issue 13 through 18, $7 bundle. And then you get, if you can call Quasar having its magnum opus, it is definitely the Cosmos in Collision. This is the one where he gets killed, he gets crucified, he gets his hands cut off, he gets murdered, the Ghost Rider shows up to avenge his death, but for whatever reason, he just takes him off the wall and leaves his body, but then, like, he's reborn because this is also the series that first introduces Eternity's sister. Can you guess who Eternity's sister's name is? I'll just give it away. She's Infinity. Yay! Infinity fights Oblivion. Woo! Cosmic Marvel. And at the very end of this, he's reborn and he has a cooler costume. And he doesn't have a mask anymore. Good for him. So anyway, this is a $9 bundle. All right, so there we go.
So is that the complete Quasar run there?
It is the complete early Quasar run.
Like the original.
Yeah.
90s, yeah.
Because after that run is where you get the Greg Capullo. And in fact, Greg Capullo, early Greg Capullo starts to illustrate because you get Paul Ryan, then you get Mike Manley for a while, and then Capullo comes in, pre-Spawn, all that kind of stuff. And then from that point forward, you get the later era Quasar stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Kiernan.
All right. Oh, Jason, man. There's a nostalgia buzz right there, man.
There you go.
Like, as I was bundling them up, I couldn't help myself. I had to, like, flip through them and look at them and stuff like that. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So cool.
Second grade Jason's going to be really excited to get these.
Yeah. Travel back in time, man. Let him know. Don't worry, buddy. Don't spend your hard money on the Quasar comics. I'm going to bring them back to you.
I don't know what I paid. I still have the first issue of Quasar. I don't know what I paid, though. It wasn't $1. That's for sure. I had to, like, hunt it down.
It actually, it's like the one issue. Well, that one has a little bit of value, and the other one that has value is the first appearance of Infinity. But again, that's because everyone's speculating that once they introduce Eternity, they'll introduce Infinity. And then let's not forget, we already have the first appearance of the Living Tribunal, Savage Tales Strange Tales 156, which is really hot right now for anybody who's looking for hot keys. In fact, we had a copy, but Mike sold it out from under us because Mike doesn't care if we look cool or not in front of all of you. Because Mike's just like, yo, do your job. And I say, hey, man, we're doing it, right?
Mike cares if these lights are on.
Yeah. That's it. I forgot the motivation.
I got a 158 from J Rules. I don't know. It just says 158. Were you talking about something?
Well, is it 158? I thought it was 156. The Living Tribunal? Let us know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Because I think 158 or 159 was that first appearance of the Contessa.
Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe you're just getting trolled.
It could be too. I don't know J Rules.
Is it Ja Rule? Maybe it's Ja Rule. Maybe Ja Rule, if you came in, great career.
You owe some people some money, buddy. All those fry kids.
Yo, God, yeah.
Fry
All right.
kids, whatever.
All right, so let's get through the last little bit that we have up here. So let me just start out real fast.
It's coming up.
With Dark Horse Comics #1. This is a Fine Plus copy at $3. The big thing about this issue is recently an artist that I loved, and if you're not familiar with his work, we recently had that Shadow Cabinet #0. It's John Paul Leone, who passed away the past year. I think it was like really recent.
It was like in the last 2 months.
This is considered, I don't know if maybe there's some self-published or some really super, but this is considered his first interior Marvel work, interior comic work. No, in fact, I think it's his first comic work. So John Paul Leone, his first comic work illustration is here in Dark Horse Comics #1. But if you don't care about artists and you only care about first appearances, don't worry. This issue does not disappoint because this is the first appearance of, you guessed it, Time Cop.
Jean-Claude Van Damme's Time Cop.
Yep, Jean-Claude Van Damme's Time Cop appears in this issue. And the cool thing is, you get a gatefold cover where you get RoboCop, Predator, and Time Cop. So Predator is in between two cops. So it's not going to go well for Predator, that's for sure. $3, people. Come on.
It's clean.
All right.
Can I give
And
this
we
to
do have
Baines?
a second copy if anyone is interested.
What Shout out to Mr. Rayo.
Hey, Mr. Rayo. Okay, now in the early 90s, again, this is purely a Greg Hole thing. I can't believe we had this entire time. Back in the early 90s, nostalgic 1950s EC comics, they started to put out actual reprints of original EC comics, okay? So I'm going to reiterate, this is a reprint, but it's a reprint of classic EC comics. There's 2 stories in this. One of them actually, it's a Ray Bradbury story that somebody else adapted, but still, it's Ray Bradbury. So this is Shock Suspense Stories, issue number 7. It's a very fine Near Mint copy at $5 with a really cool cover. So there you go. If you're looking for a little EC comics, that is an actual, not a inspired by, no, that is a reprint of a classic original EC comics. Now we get a little bit more fun nostalgia 90s. Here we get Painkiller Jane, Dark Child, Love Dreams, one-shot. You get a beautiful Joe Quesada, Jimmy Palmiotti cover, but the other thing that makes this book really unique, and I wasn't aware of this until I opened it up, but it is early work by an artist that I absolutely love and a great guy. I haven't met many people whose work I really love, but this dude was awesome. We hung out talking about the Stooges the whole time, the band, not the Three Stooges. But it is early work of J.G. Jones, an artist who I really love, and I wish him all the best health. I know he's been having some issues lately. But again, you get some great art with a bunch of characters I'm going to be honest and say I'm unfamiliar with. But anyway, this is Painkiller Jane, Dark Child, one shot. Very fine Near Mint, $5. All right.
Real quick to Mr. Morales, I'm afraid the Dark Horse was claimed just slightly earlier, so you just missed out on
the Dark Horse comics?
Yeah.
But I have a second copy.
Oh, then I'll take that.
Then you, well, hold on. Yeah. So here you go.
Never mind, Mr. Morales, you got it.
There you go. Boom. All right.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Now these are 2 John Byrne comics. Okay. The first one has value purely because of the cover. Okay. And purely, probably, it's a horny cover. You're pretty much purchasing this because you really find She-Hulk to be sexy. But hey, it's the summer. She's hanging out on the beach. This is a Marvel Age, issue number 76. This is a very fine copy at $6. But hey, this book sold for $15 the other day on eBay. I looked it up. I was like, are you kidding me? But hey, man, I mean, I love a good John Byrne She-Hulk. And there you go. That's a unique image. And you even get a 5-page preview of Nam. No, Ninth Man, the Ultimate Ninja. Not Nam. Ninth Man, the Ultimate Ninja. So there you go. You get a really gorgeous, horny cover of She-Hulk. $6. And then you get John Byrne doing Alien. This is Alien's Earth Angel. So you got it. It's Alien crash lands in 1950s Midwest America. And there's a family that has to survive, and the mother, father, and the 2 daughters do survive. I bet you can't guess what the name of the family is. In fact, I'm going to throw it out there. Please, if you know or you have an idea, don't look it up, who the family that survives by the end of this book, and at the very end of the panel, the father says what their name is. This is a $4 book for very fine Near Mint.
Mr. Morales, you looking for this John Byrne cover? Let us know which one you want. You want the She-Hulk?
The She-Hulk or the Aliens?
Oh, I got it. All right. You take them all. All right, cool.
All right. Next up is, okay, now this is a very fine plus copy at $3. It's not that, but Brian K. Vaughan, anyone who's not aware, one of his great stories, one that I've recently reread. I talked about it a lot, I believe, in last episode where I almost cried talking about the ampersand in the woods scene. But in September, Hulu is releasing Why the Last Man. But here we have a Brian K. Vaughan, Jorge Lucas series, Mystique's first solo series. But more than anything, you get this gorgeous Joseph Michael Linsner Mystique cover. Now, this bad boy is only $3. And then we have, okay, who here doesn't know who Alex Toth is? Hope not. Here's again, the beauty of the Greg Hole. We have Black Hood by Red Circle Comics, issue number 2, with a gorgeous Alex Toth cover, but And Alex Toth back cover of Black Hood, but you also get the interior, Alex Toth writing and illustrating the Fox. And then you have a gatefold Alex Toth cover. In fact, I'm pretty sure that this cover and stuff will probably show up on our Instagram feed this week. I didn't have the opportunity to get it up there before the show, but still, anyone who's in the know knows how awesome this is. But you get a gorgeous Alex Toth gatefold cover, and you get another Fox interior story written and illustrated by the man who created Space Ghost and so many other characters, and was the inspiration of Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' The Long Weekend story. Because Alex Toth might have been a bit of a drinker and not the funnest to be around later in his life. But boy, it doesn't change the fact that he was a genius, and at least he didn't commit suicide at his art desk. But he sure committed suicide above his liver. So anyway, both of these issues are $3. All right, now we have another fun little weird, not one shot because it's technically issue number 3, but we're talking about anthology books. So every issue has complete stories, one and dones and stuff like that. So here we have The Wildly Plausible Plight of Erie Smith and Walter Weary. All right, really cool, interesting cover. But the real selling point of this issue is you get Steve Ditko's Missing Man. All right, and again, it is pure like 80s Ditko. It is weird. It is definitely dealing with way too much objectivism for my taste, but still, I love Weird Ditko. And you can have it for $3.
You got another copy of that Black Hood?
I do not.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all we got.
Sorry. And then we get a weird love and fantasy book. Again, romance comics haven't been in style in a long time, but every now and again, you'll get these like strange little pop-ups, especially when they try to intermingle them with like weird pulpy sci-fi stuff. But you get a nice story by Mike Barron. This is Love and Fantasy, issue number 1, $3. Gary, if you're out there, this is so up your alley. All right. Now, I should have saved this for whatever I create in terms of the 90s nostalgia show. But we found really weird variants in the Greg Hole. The first one up is Prophet number 1, volume 2, number 1 from 1995. But this is the San Diego Comic-Con edition that came out a few months before the actual book. Now, in this issue, all of the art is black and white. It's all Stephen Platt's art, who is the second coming of somebody in the mid-90s. But there is absolutely no text whatsoever. So the uniqueness of this book is it's a different cover. It's got the San Diego Comic-Con edition part of it. It's 1995, all that kind of stuff. And again, all of the interior art is all of Stephen Platt's art for Prophet Volume 2, number 1, except it's all black and white, and there's not a single bit of text. And this bad boy is $5. All right, cool. These are all like really unique. Now here we have, again, I don't even know if you guys remember who Weapon Zero is. But, you know, an Image back in the, I think at this point, this was mid to late 90s. But this is Weapon Zero number 4. But what makes this unique is it is the 20th anniversary of the Chicago Comic-Con special edition gold foil variant. Outside of that, I can't really say too much more about it. It's $5. And then, speaking of silver ink, and so throwback to Avatar, this is like 2000, 2001, we're talking about Alan Moore's Glory, not to be confused with Rob Liefeld's Glory, even though it's literally the same character. But what is more interesting is this is an early David Finch art. This is the David Finch Platinum Foil Edition, Alan Moore's Glory, number 1, very fine near mint, $6. All right. And then, if anyone is like, hey, Brendan, Al, you guys haven't talked enough about a horror comic, and you haven't talked about enough 3D, and you haven't talked enough about 80s movies, and you haven't talked enough about brain-sucking alien bats. Well, then guess what? I have the book for you. I'm specifically talking about Fright Night from winter 1993. It's Fright Night 3D, The Dead Remember. If you were looking for a brain-sucking alien bats and terrifying 3D, we have the book for you. It's polybagged, it comes with its own 3D glasses, and it's only $3. All right, good stuff, good stuff. All right, so that's good. Oh, and it's $7.56. Do we still have our heart out in like a minute or two? Okay, so I guess we're going to have to call it then. But before I do it really quickly, if anyone from the local show, if you missed out, we have another copy of Fantastic Four 273, first appearance of Nathaniel Richards, Kang Prime, all that stuff. We have Avengers 293, first appearance of the Council of Kangs, Ravonna Renslayer. We got that beautiful Alex Ross cover of all the different versions of Kang. We also, for anyone who follows our Instagram page, we have that gorgeous Mike Mignola Spectre cover, but it also has the naked Madame Xanadu, who is having sex with Ghost Spectre, and it's very explicit. And we have a book that should be in print, a character who is very beloved, and a series that I haven't seen enough of in recent years. We're talking about Green Lantern, Mosaic, the first John Stewart solo series. We got issue number 1 here for $3. So with that said, I guess we are pretty much calling it because we have to be off the air very soon so we can get the next show going. Cool.
Well, thank you to Mr. Morales. If you could hit up the email in the link, because I believe we haven't shipped to you yet, just so we can get your invoice squared away.
If you think that we haven't gotten any of your information, fjccshow@gmail.com.
Yes.
Please hit us up and we'll get that stuff out to you as quick as possible.
To everybody else, looks like Mr. Morales pretty much cleared it out. So, Mr. Freeze, I'm sorry. Weapon Zero's gone. And Mosaic's gone.
All right, cool. And that's pretty much, I think those were the last of the copies. Like I brought them out at the last minute just because, obviously people saw on the local show and everything like that. For anyone who wants to watch more of the Fat Jacks, do some live stream stuff, Al and Mike will be on tomorrow on the Facebook, the comic book shopping network from
12 to 1 and 4 to 6 tomorrow and 10 to 12 on Tuesday.
All right. Or you can meet us all back here next week again at 4:30. We are on our Facebook page, Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. We go 4:30 to almost 6, and then we're back here on the Experience from 6 to 8. Who the hell knows what we're going to have next week? I barely know what we're going to have every week. So it's always a nice little discovery.
Keep track with the Instagram.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to be a little bit more update stuff and tease stuff. And again, like as you saw, if I show off an image and stuff like that, I'm going to probably try to sell the book. So that's very possible. Again, the Instagram is the FJC Paradox. I'm Cash. That's Tango. We're hanging out here. Hopefully I'll make it out of the Greg hole next week and I won't get stuck down there. But if I do, don't send anybody. It is dangerous. Be well, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure. I love doing this. Talk to you soon. Take care.